Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Ozcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at some really interesting stuff going on in the Ukraine conflict and specifically the peace negotiations that are happening now.
Right.
And specifically, we have a bunch of reports about Trump's involvement in all of this. So I think this is going to be a very interesting one. Buckle up, folks.
Yeah.
It's a real twisty-turny one.
A lot going on.
We have Trump on the one hand.
Right.
He's pushing for a peace deal, which on the face of it sounds good, right?
Right.
Peace, who doesn't want peace?
Of course, yeah.
But he is also publicly clashing with Zelenskyy,
Right.
the Ukrainian president.
Right.
And to add insult to injury, it seems like Ukraine wasn't even invited to the negotiating table.
Yeah, this is a really unusual situation.
Right.
You know, you've got peace talks that have been going on for months now,
Right.
with really very little progress. And both sides have really dug in. And the cost of this conflict is mounting, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just for Ukraine, but globally as well. So you can kind of understand why Trump getting involved is causing a bit of a stir.
Yeah, it's a new
Element.
dynamic.
A whole new dynamic, for sure. And, you know, we have these reports about Trump praising Putin and criticizing Zelenskyy, and that's
And it is.
a head scratcher.
It really is,
Right?
especially when you consider that the U.S. has been a really staunch ally of Ukraine. And to see this change, it suggests that maybe priorities are changing. Maybe there's a focus on a faster resolution.
Right.
But at what cost?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And to illustrate how strange this is, there's a quote from Trump where he says that Zelenskyy has, quote, no cards in this negotiation.
Wow.
Which is a very loaded statement.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to imply that Trump sees Zelenskyy as being in a very weak position.
Right.
Unable to really negotiate.
Yeah.
From a position of strength.
Right.
But, we have to ask ourselves, is that actually true? I mean, Ukraine has put up a really strong resistance, much stronger than I think a lot of people expected.
So maybe this is a tactic from Trump to try to pressure Zelenskyy into accepting terms that are more beneficial for Russia.
I see.
And maybe for Trump as well.
Right. And this is where it gets even more interesting.
Yeah.
Because Zelensky's pushing back.
Yeah, he's really pushing back.
Against both Russia and the U.S. I mean, it's his country on line.
He's in a tough spot. He needs support from the West. But he also has to protect his own interests.
Absolutely.
And maybe pushing back against both sides is a way for him to kind of assert his own independence.
Oh, okay.
Remind everybody that Ukraine has a voice.
Right.
Even if they're not directly at the negotiating table.
It's almost as if he's Klein.
Yeah.
Trying to play a weak hand, but play it strong.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
They're like a poker game.
Yeah, like a poker game.
Yeah, a high-stakes game.
High-stakes poker game. He's bluffing. Maybe he's bluffing.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
This is another interesting point. Zelenskyy postponed the 2024 election.
The presidential elections.
The presidential elections.
Okay.
Until after the war.
Right.
Which is legal.
Totally legal.
Under their constitution. But Trump is calling him a dictator.
Wow.
For this. But he refuses to say.
Yeah.
If he considers Putin a dictator.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
It's a big inconsistency. It makes you wonder, is he using the label dictator based on actual behavior? Or is it a political tactic to discredit Zelenskyy and to kind of justify leaving him out of the negotiation?
Right. And especially since the U.S. Special Envoy to Ukraine has praised Zelensky's courage.
Yeah, it's a lot of mixed messages.
Yeah, mixed messages all over the place. And to add even more to the intrigue, Trump seems to be frustrated about a mineral resources deal that Ukraine rejected.
There was this deal proposed, potentially very lucrative. It seems that it fell through. And Trump is blaming both Ukraine and Biden for this.
Okay, so then a new version of that deal
Right.
is on the table now.
It's back.
So you know what's going on here.
It's hard to know.
I don't know what's going on.
The motivations are
So it just seems very strange.
Yeah.
And Trump also seems to be blaming Ukraine and Biden for the war. even though he acknowledges that Russia
was the initial aggressor?
It doesn't quite
add up.
No.
So, I mean, what do you wake of all of this?
Yeah.
Is Trump a peacemaker, or is this all some kind of power play?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Who can really say what his motivations are? I think only time will tell.
Right.
But one thing is certain. With the U.S. election coming up and Trump running for president again, this is all going to have a huge impact on things.
Huge, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Very much so. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to another deep dive, and we will see you next time.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.